Hi everyone and welcome to a new episode of Dave's Podcast along with a new video. I want to tell you guys that I truly appreciate when you like, subscribe, view and watch and listen to all of these episodes and videos, and continue to do that. I pay attention to everything. I have to, progress means a lot, in all fronts, in all fours. Consistency is everything. If you're not consistent in anything that is important to you, something ain't right. Like, really, you gotta make sure that you keep up with what you do and how you do it, and I will be a living proof of that to make sure you guys know it won't be as long as you guys think it will be when I am able to give this podcast here. But besides the point, I love you all. I truly appreciate when you guys watch again. And yeah, let's get into this next episode here, this free episode, despite Patreon and Spotify, which I will be updating. My Way is what we are going to talk about as far as with Usher. It is his second studio album that was released on September 16th, 1997. I believe, Janet was coming out at this time. A couple weeks later, you got Mariah, who may have came out literally, if not on the same day, if not a couple days before. But 97 was a big deal. I remember 97, and I just, such a time. But yeah, by LaFace Records in North America, the album features guest appearances from Monica, Jermaine Dupri, and Lil' Kim. The album was supported by 3 singles, all multi-platinum selling: You Make Me Wanna, Nice and Slow, and the title track. With most of the album production by Babyface and Dupri, the album became a commercial success, debuting at number 15 on the Billboard 200 and peaking at number 4. Okay, so like I have told you guys, if you're in the top 40, you're seen. Even if you're in the top 20, you're very much seen. If you're even approaching, and even like with this, peaking at number 4, you are very much seen, okay? The album also reached number 4 on the U.S. Top R&B Hip Hop Albums chart and will eventually top the Billboard R&B Hip Hop Albums chart for 3 weeks, okay? So, again, this was a much better come back from his debut. And I've told you guys before, as long as you are, showing more progress than your previous work, it will be seen. It will be shown. People will see it. They will love it. They'll appreciate it. In most cases, because you put in the work. You did what you had to do. You're not hesitating to make things right. For yourself and for everyone else, and for those that you need to be right to. That's a fact. It was certified 7 times platinum by the Recording Academy. My Way became Usher's breakthrough album and earned him a nomination for the Grammy Award for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance for You Make Me Wanna. So he actually was Grammy nominated for this, and that says a lot, because he literally was able to start within a few years or so. So that's really great. But yeah, You Make Me Wanna was released August 5th, 1997. So literally in the summertime, I can remember when it was released. I was like, this is what you do. Wait a minute. It's hot. I know I was young, but shoot, it was hot. And then Nice and Slow came out January 6th, 1998. So it was very cold. And then My Way came out June 9th, 1998. And in that time, that was in the midst of Brandy releasing Never Say Never. You got Aaliyah coming out with Are You That Somebody as a single for Dr. Dolittle. There was all different types of music, because I'm not going to speak just specifically on R&B, but I'm just kind of relating on to those releases at that time. But yes, Usher proves that he's aiming to become more than just R&B music's best kept secret. Okay, that's one review. Yep. Let's see. So AllMusic gave My Way 4 out of 5 stars and praised Usher's vocal restraint, but noted inconsistency in quality. In a 2002 review, magazine also gave it 4 stars and wrote that it established Usher's reputation as a young and skillful performer of R&B slow jams. So, okay, the best Complex gave this album the best R&B albums of the 90s at number 36. Okay. So from what I'm seeing with this and what I'm, because from the ratings of most of the publications, they did enjoy the album. However, I guess based on the fact that, like I said, sonically, there could have been more on an abstract of where maybe he could peek a little bit into the pop side. And, we didn't see that of Usher until, a little bit later into his career. He really strictly was pushing R&B a lot more, which is a great thing at that time and even still to this day, because R&B does get overshadowed. Hip-hop is more of the, the black people, we getting into it, but you'll hear all, if not most of the hip-hop artists and faves that y'all love, they love R&B. They love the pop music. They love things that are kind of more softer and more, even intellectual, where it's just, it don't always have to be, bubblegum pop R&B, or, not R&B, but bubblegum pop. It can be, a little bit more alternative too. And we're going to talk about all types of ranges of genres around here. We still are in the process. But I'm just wanting to get you guys understanding that as far as with R&B, still to this day, it, really gets overshadowed. People just kind of pull into it, get out of it. Of course, with hip-hop, you kind of see, that all the time. Just everybody just kind of using up whatever they doing at the time with hip-hop. It's just... this is one of the reasons why I commend Kendrick. Because, and this is not to kind of get off of Usher or anything, but I commend Kendrick because in a hip-hop sphere right now, what do people mostly expect when it comes to rap? That you stand on your own, that you're saying what you need to say, get it off your chest. If people like it and love it, we gonna rock with it. And when that's happening, it's all these conspiracies, and if he's this, and who's doing this, and why is he coming at this, and whether it's another artist or not, we've seen it in time where whether it was a DMX, and whether it was, other rappers that have been here, or even other songwriters and singers like Angie Stone that have been here, where they have shown their artistry, and it didn't take much for them to really be seen and for people to really acknowledge who they truly are. And that's why, sticking to my main point, when you have talent in a way where you don't need all those extras, you don't need all that, you just come out, you just be you. When you have that type of talent, you don't have to make anyone or have to validate anything. You just be, and I think that's just what was always overshadowed when it came to R&B. You don't have those type of questions with pop. You don't have those type of questions with hip hop. You don't have those, only so many questions with hip hop where it's like, okay, well, what if they're not doing this? And what if they're not doing that? But as far as you don't have that type of questions when it comes to all these other genres. It's always mostly R&B where there's just maybe they'll make it, maybe they'll have to, no, it shouldn't always have to be that way with R&B. Every other genre, if they were to show a little skin, it's just somehow we get into it. But with R&B, it's always just even if the artist were to just be a bit provocative, it's well, why are they doing that? Aren't they supposed to serenade us and make us feel good? Why are they getting all sexy? And it's well, we loving SZA, right? there we go. It's just but there was a time where we had a Janet Jackson who did just as much, not even just as much, much more. And because a nip slip happened, y'all let her just not be as great as what she already still is. Let's get back to the topic here. As far as with Usher, he is a great artist, and he loves him some Janet too. As far as with the track listing, let's go into track 1, which is You Make Me Wanna. Track 2, Just Like Me, featuring Lil' Kim. Track 3, Nice and Slow. Okay, so Lil' Kim is right in the beginning of the album. Okay, and is a writer, okay? This is after Biggie, yes, And writing credits is just her and Seal. Okay, Manuel Seal as opposed to Jermaine Dupri. Only 3 people on here. And track 4 is Slow Jam featuring Monica. Track 5, My Way. Track 6, Come Back featuring Jermaine Dupri. Track 7, I Will. Track 8, Bedtime. Track 9, One Day You'll Be Mine. And track 10, You Make Me Wanna extended version. So there was literally only 10 tracks on here. And then there was the 25th anniversary edition. The bonus tracks for that were mostly remixes. About 6 different remixes of You Make Me Wanna, My Way, and Nice and Slow collectively. But yeah, there was a tour edition of My Way, which was issued in Australian and New Zealand. Which was in Australian and in New Zealand as well. Features live as a bonus track. Bonus disc, I should say. The live album, I remember that. But yeah, guys, as far as what the charts go, he was charting much more overseas, definitely, based on these breakout hits. The UK albums, he was number 16. The UK R&B albums, he was number 3. He peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200, and then, of course, number 1 on the US Top R&B Hip Hop Albums chart. So, as far as with the year end of 97 and 98 collectively, okay, as far as with the Billboard 200, by the end of 97, he was still at 164. Now, that is the irony of it, because he was much higher when he debuted on his first album. So for him to be still in the 200, like Billboard 200 by the end of the year is great. And as far as with the US Top R&B Hip Hop Albums, he was number 63. Now, by 98, what we see here is that he rose back up to US Billboard 200 at number 11 by the end of the year. So he was still in the top 20 by the end of the year of 98. Okay, people started to buy more of the album and really realized, like, wait a minute now, this is good. And the US Top R&B Hip Hop Albums, Billboard is number 6. So by the end of 98, he was number 6. So the chart placements became higher. The decade end chart, so literally by the end of 99, he was still charting at the US Billboard 200 at 91. Now, and I've said this a few times, if you're still charting years after your album's been released, they love it. They're keeping it in rotation. You're getting the sales. They love it. They're going to keep buying. Okay? So, it's definitely a good album to me. It really catapult, if that's how you say the word, but it really propelled him into much more of a star, especially by the time he was getting into the era when it comes to 8701, and that was a different time, such a different time. 2001 was such a different time, but we will talk about 8701 too. But yes, and that took him about 4 years similar to from his debut to My Way. So My Way was definitely just letting people know, I'm really here and I'm not going nowhere. Okay, so yes, I thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and I'll be back with more.